Have you ever found yourself lying awake at 3 a.m., listening to the quiet of your house, wishing you could just sleep through the night like you used to? Maybe you chalk it up to getting older. It's just part of aging, you tell yourself. But what if those restless nights and frequent trips to the bathroom weren't simply the price of growing older? What if a few unnoticed nighttime habits were making things worse, quietly affecting your prostate health and stealing your precious rest? Too often, these little habits get brushed aside as harmless, yet they can add up to bigger problems than most people realize. In today's video, we're diving into the 5 overlooked bedtime routines that may be keeping you up, and at the end, I'll share one small change that could make your nights peaceful again. Let's explore this together, one gentle step at a time. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Drinking too much water or stimulating beverages before bed. You know that feeling just after you've tucked yourself in, lights out, covers pulled up, a gentle breeze from the window brushing your cheek, when suddenly you remember the tall glass of iced tea you finished while watching the late-night news. At first, it seems harmless. After all, every doctor in America has reminded you to drink more fluids. Yet 2 hours later, you're shuffling down the hallway in your slippers, fumbling for the bathroom light, wondering why your bladder feels like a bursting balloon and why your prostate seems determined to keep you on a first-name basis with the toilet. Night after night, the same routine unfolds. Sip, sigh, sleep, shuffle. You tell yourself it's just part of getting older, the price of staying hydrated. But the exhaustion hanging over your morning says otherwise, and deep down, you suspect there's more to the story than age alone. So let's ask an honest, slightly uncomfortable question. What if the problem isn't your prostate getting older, but your timing? What if guzzling water, coffee, or your favorite evening bourbon right before bed is nudging an already sensitive gland into overdrive, forcing it to swell, squeeze your urethra, and send frantic, empty me now signals to your bladder all night long? Contrary to the comforting myth that the body takes what it needs and leaves the rest, the human urinary system operates on simple plumbing rules. Fill the tank, feel the urge. Add a prostate that naturally enlarges for nearly half of American men over 60, and you have a recipe for restless nights. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. The prostate sits just below the bladder, wrapped around the urethra like a donut hugging a straw. As the gland grows with age or inflammation, it pinches that straw, narrowing the exit channel for urine. When you flood the bladder with late-night fluids, pressure builds quickly. The bladder's stretch receptors, already more irritable after decades of service, fire sooner and more often, jolting you awake. Stimulating beverages, coffee, black tea, green tea, colas, energy drinks, add a second punch. Caffeine is a diuretic and a bladder irritant. It increases urine production while making the bladder wall twitchy, so even a modest volume feels urgent. Alcohol does something similar. It inhibits an anti-diuretic hormone called vasopressin, meaning your kidneys send extra water down the line. Then it relaxes the bladder sphincter, making control harder. The result? You're up at midnight, 2:30, for 15, each trip straining groggy joints, spiking blood pressure, and robbing precious REM sleep that keeps memory sharp and mood steady. Over time, this pattern creates a feedback loop. Frequent nighttime voids leave the bladder never fully empty or fully at rest. Residual urine stagnates, which can irritate the prostate further, invite low-grade infections, and reinforce inflammation that fuels enlargement. Meanwhile, fragmented sleep raises inflammation markers throughout the body, including the prostate. In short, that innocent glass of water at 10 p.m. might be whispering to your prostate, "Grow, swell, bother him again." The good news is that the fix is gentler than you'd imagine. No crash diets, no expensive gadgets, just a thoughtful shift in rhythm. Start by front-loading hydration. Pour most of your day's water. Aim for about 64 ounces unless your doctor advises differently, between breakfast and late afternoon. Keep a refillable bottle within arm's reach all morning. Every time you pass the kitchen, take a modest sip instead of a gulp, letting your kidneys process fluids steadily instead of dumping them into the bladder at once. After 6 p.m., ease back. Switch from 12-ounce refills to 4-ounce sips. If your mouth feels dry near bedtime, rinse with water, swish, and swallow just a mouthful, enough to soothe, not to flood. Craving something warm while watching primetime TV? Trade caffeinated coffee or black tea for a small mug of herbal chamomile or rooibos. Both are naturally caffeine-free and gentle on the bladder. Fancy a nightcap? Limit it to 1 shot of liquor or half a glass of wine 3 hours before turning in. Then follow it with a quick walk around the living room to jumpstart metabolism and circulation. Create a last call ritual. 1 hour before you plan to sleep, finish whatever small drink you have and then make a deliberate bathroom trip, even if you don't feel desperate. Think of it like shutting down the kitchen before closing time. Once you're ready to climb into bed, keep only a tiny bedside cup, 2 ounces, not a full bottle. So if you wake with a dry cough, you can wet your throat without inviting a flood. These tweaks respect both hydration and rest. Your daytime cells still get the water they need, while your nighttime bladder and prostate get a break. Let me share a quick real-life snapshot. 2 summers ago, Frank Reynolds, a retired fire chief from Ohio, wrote to our channel in frustration. At 71, he prided himself on healthy habits. Morning walks, balanced meals, but nighttime was a mess. He drank a tall tumbler of iced green tea at 9 o'clock because it kept the pipes clean, yet he was padding to the bathroom 4 times before sunrise. Together we mapped out a simple shift. Main hydration before dinner, herbal tea instead of caffeinated green after 7, half glass of room temperature water to chase evening pills, and a strict lights off, cup away rule. Within 10 days, Frank reported only 1 bathroom visit per night. A month later, he occasionally slept straight through, and his wife noticed he was brighter, kinder, and more energetic at breakfast. Proof that a small pivot can ripple across an entire household. You might wonder, but I live in Arizona and it's dry, won't I dehydrate? Fair question. Climate matters, but timing still counts. If daytime highs leave you parched, add an extra 8-ounce glass at lunch, maybe another at 4 p.m., and lean on water-rich foods. Melon slices, cucumber, soups, so hydration blends into meals. Evening remains your slow zone. Even in a desert climate, your body isn't sweating buckets at midnight under the AC vent. It doesn't want a quart of water sloshing inside either. Think of these adjustments not as deprivation but liberation. By giving your prostate and bladder fewer reasons to panic after dark, you free your nervous system to slip into deeper sleep cycles. Those cycles boost growth hormone for muscle repair, sharpen memory consolidation, and regulate appetite hormones that keep late-night cravings in check. That means stronger legs for morning walks, clearer recall for your grandchild's school stories, and steadier blood sugar that calms the snack monster. All from moving your last glass of water up the clock. So tonight, invite yourself to a new rhythm. Drink with the sun, taper with the moon, and honor that quiet hour before bed as sacred bladder downtime. Set a gentle reminder on your phone at 7 p.m. Sip small, not tall. Bring your favorite herbal tea tin into the living room and save the coffee for sunrise. Rinse, spit, swallow a thimbleful if your throat insists, then visit the bathroom one last time, flick off the hall light, and let your body thank you in dreamland. Remember, it's never too late to rewrite a habit. Like Frank, you may discover that the distance between 4 bathroom trips and 1 between exhaustion and vitality is merely the width of a teacup. Give your prostate the gift of calm, nourish it by day, let it rest by night. You've earned every peaceful hour that follows. 2. Skipping the bathroom before bed. You know the familiar tug of reluctance. You're cozy under the covers, the TV's glow has faded, and the last thing on your mind is trudging down the hallway to the bathroom. You tell yourself you'll be fine, that the few drops left won't matter, and besides, you're tired of balancing on one foot in the dark. So you roll over, nestle in, and hope for the best. But later, in the dead of night, you wake with a start, your bladder screaming, your legs heavy and stiff from lying in one position. Groggy and stumbling, you shuffle to the bathroom, your heart pounding not just from the cold tiles but from the frustration of interrupted sleep. Night after night, you persuade yourself that skipping that just-in-case trip is no big deal. After all, everyone skips once in a while, right? But let's flip that assumption on its head for a moment. What if skipping the bathroom before bed is one of the simplest reasons you're wrestling with your sheets at 2 a.m.? What if those few ounces of leftover urine are whispering to your prostate, nudging it toward irritation and enlargement? It may sound surprising. After all, no one ever said, "Remember to pee before bed to protect your prostate." But the truth is that a half-empty bladder in an aging body can set off a chain reaction that robs you of rest. Here's a clear-eyed look at what's happening inside. As we age, the prostate gland naturally grows for many men. Studies show that roughly half of all American men over 60 experience some degree of prostate enlargement superscript 1. This gland sits snugly beneath the bladder and wraps around the urethra, the tube that drains urine. When the bladder isn't empty, residual urine pools at the base, pressing against the prostate. Over time, that gentle pressure can contribute to inflammation, your body's response to irritation, which in turn encourages the gland to swell. A fuller bladder also sends stronger, more urgent signals to your brain, telling you it's time to go, even if there's only a small volume of urine left. These blended signals of pressure and inflammation can make the prostate more sensitive, narrowing the urethra even further and turning that mild discomfort into a nightly ritual of multiple bathroom trips. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But it gets more intricate. A bladder that regularly retains urine can encourage bacterial growth, because urine sitting too long loses its natural cleaning properties. Even low-grade bacterial colonization can spark mild infections or chronic irritation in the prostate, nudging it toward further enlargement. From a sleep science perspective, each midnight wake-up not only disrupts your REM cycles, key for memory consolidation and emotional balance, but also activates your stress hormones, like cortisol. That spike makes it harder to drift back to sleep, so you lie awake, worry about tomorrow, and wake up more tired. Over weeks and months, this not only diminishes your physical energy but can erode your mood, sharpen aches and stiff joints, and even undermine your confidence to tackle the day. So, what's a gentle, realistic solution? It begins with a simple promise to yourself. Always take that final bathroom trip before slipping into bed. Think of it as a nightly ritual, like brushing your teeth or setting out your clothes, one that you honor without question. 2 minutes of wandering down the hall will reap hours of uninterrupted rest. To make this habit stick, attach it to an existing routine. After you switch off the reading lamp or pause your favorite nighttime radio program, stand up, stretch, and walk those few steps. If you worry about the dark, invest in a soft nightlight that guides your path without jarring brightness. A small plug-in LED or motion-activated lamp can transform your hallway into a safe, gentle corridor. Beyond that, pay attention to timing. Give yourself a buffer of at least 10 minutes after your last fluid sip before you climb into bed. If you've already skipped a planned bathroom visit, resist the urge to gulp water to soothe a dry throat. Instead, do a quick mouth rinse and swallow a teaspoonful to refresh without flooding your bladder. And if you take medications at night, like pills for blood pressure or cholesterol, plan to line them up with your final pee trip. That way, you don't have to choose between comfort and compliance. You simply do them together. Let me share a snapshot from our community. A retired schoolteacher named John from Minnesota wrote in last year about his stubborn habit of skipping that last walk to the bathroom. He'd been waking every 90 minutes, trudging through ice-cold floors in the winter, frustrated and cranky by sunrise. We suggested he build a gentle prompt. He set a soft chime on his bedside clock for 10 minutes before his usual bedtime. When the chime sounded, he put on his robe, ambled down the hall, and emptied his bladder, then returned to bed with a book for a few minutes before lights out. Within a week, John's nightly awakenings dropped by half. By the third week, he slept straight through, waking refreshed and joking that he hadn't known what a full night's sleep really felt like until then. His prostate symptoms eased, too. He felt less urgency and discomfort, even during the day. If you're thinking, but what if I wake up later and have to go? You're right, you still might need one quick trip. But by starting with an emptier bladder, you reduce the frequency and intensity of those calls. Over time, fewer irritations lead to less prostate swelling, which in turn means fewer midnight alarms. It's a cycle you can break with a single nightly decision. You've spent a lifetime building routines: morning coffee, afternoon walks, weekend family gatherings. Let this be one more routine that honors your body's wisdom. Imagine sliding into bed knowing you've done all you can to ease the night's journey. Picture waking up without resentment at a blaring alarm or a too bright bathroom light, but with the soft promise of a new day ahead. Tonight, when you feel that familiar urge to skip it, remind yourself, this is the simple key to better rest, a calmer prostate, and a sharper tomorrow. Take those steps, open that door, listen for the reassuring sound of relief. Then return to your sanctuary of blankets, knowing you've given your bladder and your prostate the best chance at peaceful sleep. Your body will thank you in the morning with brighter eyes, a lighter spirit, and the quiet confidence that comes from honoring yourself, one bedtime at a time. 3. Late night snacking or eating before bed. You know how it goes. It's nearly 11, the late night show is winding down, but the house still feels a little too quiet. You reach for the remote, scroll past the weather, and suddenly the faint hum of the refrigerator calls your name like an old friend. Maybe it's the leftover chicken pot pie you promised yourself you'd finish tomorrow, or the half-empty sleeve of chocolate chip cookies tucked behind the bread box. You tell yourself one small bite, just to keep your stomach from growling, won't hurt anything. Besides, you earned a treat after a long day of arthritis twinges and grandkid FaceTime chaos. So you shuffle to the kitchen in your slippers, plate that pot pie, or maybe pour a bowl of cereal, because milk helps you sleep, and settle back into your recliner, fork in hand. The house is peaceful, the food tastes like comfort, and for a moment, you forget about the nagging fatigue that's been clinging to you like a heavy winter coat. But here's the question we rarely ask. What if that innocent bedtime snack, meant to soothe loneliness or tame hunger, is secretly stirring up trouble in your prostate and stealing the deep sleep your body needs to heal? We've been told all our lives that a little something before bed is harmless, even helpful. Warm milk with honey, a small slice of cheese, a cookie or two, surely no big deal. Yet urologists and sleep researchers are discovering that late-night eating can set off a cascade of chemical signals that leave older men sprinting to the bathroom, battling indigestion, and unknowingly nudging an already sensitive prostate toward further enlargement. The culprit isn't simply calories. It's timing, content, and the inflammatory ripple effect that travels from your stomach to your bladder and straight down to that donut-shaped gland beneath it. Let's peel back the science in plain English. Digestion is active labor. Your stomach churns, acids bubble, and the pancreas releases insulin to shuttle blood sugar into hungry cells. When you eat heavy or sugary foods at night, pie crusts, salty chips, processed meats, your body works overtime just as it's supposed to be winding down. Insulin spikes trigger a rise in another hormone called insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1. Research shows that elevated IGF-1 can stimulate tissue growth, including in the prostate. Meanwhile, fatty or fried foods flood the bloodstream with lipids that build inflammatory proteins such as C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. Over months and years, that chronic low-grade inflammation bathes the prostate, encouraging it to swell. Add in a generous sprinkle of sodium from snacks like pretzels or microwave popcorn, and the kidneys race to rid the body of excess salt by pulling more water into the bladder, guaranteed to yank you from your dreams for yet another bathroom dash. Then there's reflux. Eating within 2 hours of lying down increases the likelihood of acid creeping upward, irritating the esophagus, and triggering microarousals, those half-awake moments when you roll over, cough, then drift back to a lighter sleep stage. Each micro-arousal bumps adrenaline just enough to raise heart rate and tighten pelvic muscles. The bladder senses the tension, misreads it as fullness, and fires a signal: time to empty. Your brain, fuzzy and annoyed, dutifully drags you out of bed. Multiply that by 3 or 4 wake-ups a night, and you've fragmented your deep-wave sleep so thoroughly that morning feels like slogging through molasses. Over time, poor sleep raises cortisol, a stress hormone that, ironically, fuels more belly fat and more systemic inflammation, the very ingredients that frustrate prostate health. So, how do you push back without feeling punished? Start with a curfew for your kitchen. Close it 2 hours before you plan to sleep. If you head to bed at 10, aim to finish dinner by 8. Post a sticky note on the fridge: kitchen closes at 8 p.m. as a gentle reminder. When genuine hunger does strike later, sometimes medications or blood sugar dips can cause real nighttime hunger. Reach for a prostate-friendly, low-impact option. Half a cup of unsweetened Greek yogurt sprinkled with a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, a small banana sliced with a spoonful of natural peanut butter, or a few pumpkin seeds and a slice of turkey breast. These choices provide protein and healthy fat to steady blood sugar without spiking insulin, plus minerals like zinc that support prostate tissue. Skip the sugary granola bars, the leftover pasta, and the soda. Caffeine plus sugar is a bladder irritant cocktail waiting to happen. Pair your new snack habit with mindful distraction. Cravings often arise from boredom or emotional comfort. Instead of grazing, pour a mug of warm, caffeine-free chamomile tea, wrap both hands around it, and breathe in the apple-sweet aroma. Keep your hands busy with a crossword, knitting, or jotting a note to a friend. Studies show 10 minutes of gentle cognitive engagement can smother a craving more effectively than sheer willpower. If loneliness is the true driver, flip the script and call someone. A sibling, an old army buddy, or even leave a voice memo for your granddaughter telling her about the cardinal you spotted outside the window. Social connection releases oxytocin, a hormone that soothes anxiety and, believe it or not, tempers stress-driven hunger. A quick success story brings this to life. Margaret Maggie Turner, 73, from Tulsa, spent years ending her evenings with what she called comfort toast. 2 slices of white bread slathered in butter and grape jelly, consumed while scrolling through old photographs of her late husband. She also battled nightly heartburn, rising at least twice to pee, and swirling guilt about her jeans tightening. After stumbling on our channel, Maggie decided to experiment. She swapped the toast for half an apple dipped in almond butter. Still sweet, still comforting, but lower in sugar and higher in fiber, and committed to finishing it by 7:30. Within 3 weeks, Maggie emailed to say she felt shockingly rested. Her heartburn had vanished, and she no longer dreaded bathroom dashes because they were down to 1, sometimes 0. The catalyst, she realized, wasn't willpower. It was giving herself a gentle routine that honored her emotions without sabotaging her body. Concerned about caloric needs? Plan: make dinner slightly heartier. Add an extra 3 ounces of grilled salmon or a half cup of quinoa, so true hunger is less likely to sneak up after dark. Keep water intake steady during the day, about 8 cups. But taper evening beverages to 4 ounces at a time and finish by 9. Staying hydrated earlier discourages that thirst disguised as hunger trap at night. If you take medicines requiring food before bed, like certain pain relievers, pair them with the small protein-rich snacks mentioned earlier rather than cookies or pastries. Finally, set up a bedroom environment that doesn't tempt you back into the kitchen. Dim the lights progressively. Bright overhead bulbs trick your brain into thinking it's still early evening, which delays melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy. A warm, low lamp signals winding down. Keep a carafe with just a sip or 2 of water on your nightstand so a parched throat doesn't send you prowling for a full glass, and inevitably discovering the ice cream. If you share a home, invite family or roommates to support the kitchen curfew. Collective commitment reduces individual temptation. When temptations do arise, and they will, remind yourself of the payoff: fewer nighttime trips, calmer prostate, steadier energy for tomorrow's morning walk or gardening session. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Every habit you've ever changed began with a single deliberate evening. Tonight can be that evening. Close the fridge early, choose a gentle snack if you must, rinse your plate, brush your teeth, and let the quiet hours belong to rest, not reflux, not inflammation, not urgent footsteps across cold tiles. When dawn slips through your curtains and you realize you slept almost straight through, you'll feel the difference in every corner of your day. From clearer thinking as you read the newspaper, to the spring in your step when you meet friends for coffee. The prostate, like every hard-working part of your body, thrives on rhythm and kindness. Give it both, starting with that simple decision. The kitchen closes at 8, and your night can finally open to peace. 4. Sitting or lying down too long before bed, lack of movement. You probably know the routine all too well. Dinner dishes are washed, you've called your daughter to check on the grandkids, and now your favorite armchair beckons like an old friend. The evening news murmurs in the background, the dog curls at your feet, and before you know it, 2, maybe 3 hours pass while you sit perfectly still. Some nights, you drift from the chair straight to bed, skipping any real movement because, well, you're tired and the soft cushions feel so inviting. It seems harmless, after all. You earned a little rest after mowing the lawn in the afternoon or standing in line at the pharmacy. Yet come midnight, you wake with a stiff back, numb toes, and that familiar urgency in your bladder. By morning, your joints creak like an old screen door, and your energy feels strangely drained, even though you spent half the night lying down. You shrug it off as age, pour another cup of coffee, and promise yourself a good walk tomorrow. Though tomorrow often ends up looking a lot like today. But here's the question that flips the usual thinking on its head. What if the problem isn't that you did too much during the day, but that you did too little in the quiet hours before bed? What if those hours of inactivity, however cozy, quietly tighten your pelvic muscles, slow your circulation, and nudge your prostate into a low-grade state of congestion that keeps you up at night? Most of us believe rest equals recovery, yet the human body, especially past 60, thrives on gentle, steady motion. Sitting or lying down for long stretches may feel like a reward, but physiologically it signals every system to downshift. Blood sinks into the lower limbs, lymph fluid stagnates, and the muscles around the bladder and prostate stiffen from lack of oxygen-rich flow. Instead of truly unwinding, your body slips into a kind of idle mode, like a car engine left running but never driven, building heat and residue that you'll pay for later. Here's the science in plain language. Your lower pelvis operates like a neighborhood of closely packed houses. The bladder lives on one side of the street, the prostate sits right next door, and veins, arteries, and lymph channels weave between them like little back roads. When you remain still for long periods, especially in a seated position, gravity pools blood in the legs and slows its return through the pelvic veins. That backlog creates mild swelling in the veins surrounding the prostate, which can irritate the gland and make it feel larger than it is. Meanwhile, slack pelvic muscles press down on the belly of the bladder, shrinking its capacity and triggering time to go signals long before the tank is truly full. Add to that the reduction in nitric oxide, a natural vessel relaxer that declines when muscles aren't contracting, and those tiny prostate blood vessels clamp down, restricting nutrient flow and delaying waste removal. The net result. By bedtime, your prostate sits in a traffic jam of sluggish blood and lymph, inflamed just enough to squeeze the urethra and set off nighttime bathroom alarms. There's more. Inactivity before bed short-circuits your body's circadian cues. Gentle evening movement, like stretching or a stroll, helps disperse cortisol, the stress hormone, while raising melatonin, the sleep hormone. If you skip that movement, cortisol lingers, making it harder to fall into deep, prostate-healing sleep. Over weeks, chronic cortisol can fuel systemic inflammation that further enlarges the gland. And let's not forget joints and muscles. When they cool into stiffness, your midnight bathroom dash becomes a wobbly, fall-risk adventure that no senior, or their loved ones, wants to face. So what's the gentle, doable fix? Think of it as weaving tiny threads of motion into the fabric of your evening. Start by closing your sitting zone an hour before bedtime. When the clock strikes 9, or whatever time suits your schedule, rise from your chair and honor a 5-minute pledge. Walk the length of your hallway, roll your shoulders, swing your arms, and flex your ankles. If weather permits, step out to the porch and breathe the night air while making a slow loop around the driveway. Those few minutes wake the calf muscles, which act like second hearts to pump venous blood upward and flush the pelvic basin. Follow with 2 minutes of gentle pelvic tilts, standing or seated. Exhale, tighten your belly slightly, imagine drawing your navel toward your spine, then inhale and relax. This subtle motion massages the tissue around the prostate and bladder, relieving pressure that builds during prolonged sitting. Next, treat yourself to a simple bedside mobility circuit. Place a sturdy chair near your bed. Before climbing under the covers, perform 8 seated knee lifts, one leg at a time, lifting your foot a few inches while exhaling. Then stand, hold the chair back, and do 8 calf raises, rising onto your tiptoes and lowering slowly. Finish with 8 hip circles, hands on hips, gentle circles the size of a dinner plate, for each direction. The whole routine takes less than 5 minutes, no sweating, no spandex, yet it tells every vessel and muscle below the belt line. Fresh blood incoming, waste products outgoing, night duties complete. As circulation improves, so does oxygen delivery to prostate tissue, calming inflammation and encouraging the gland to go off duty while you sleep. If you need inspiration, let me share Sam's story. Sam Peterson, a 76-year-old retired railroad engineer from Montana, wrote to our channel last winter. Long evenings in his lazy boy had become his favorite pastime, watching Western reruns while the snow piled outside. But Sam also fought nightly urgency, 5 trips between midnight and dawn, plus shooting hip pain each morning. We challenged him to adopt a 10-minute motion buffer before bed. Reluctant but curious, Sam set his phone alarm for 8:45 p.m. When it chimed, he clicked off the TV, stood up, and did 3 laps around his dining table, pausing at each lap to do those seated knee lifts in a kitchen chair. Within 2 weeks, the hip pain eased. After a month, he woke only twice to pee. Today, Sam swears the routine adds years to his life because he wakes rested enough to meet his buddies for early morning coffee. And yes, he insists on walking to the cafe. Perhaps you're thinking, I have bad knees. Walking laps sounds painful. Remember, any movement counts. Sit on the edge of the bed and gently pump your ankles, point and flex your toes, or squeeze a softball between your knees for 15 seconds at a time. If standing is safe but stairs are out of the question, march in place beside your chair while holding the back for balance. Use a playlist of 2 favorite songs, about 6 minutes, to guide you. Let old Sinatra or Motown tracks carry you through slow sway steps that both lift your mood and lubricate stiff joints. The aim is not cardio training. It's circulation and muscle whispering. Pair these motions with mindful breathing to deepen the benefit. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, letting your belly rise. Exhale through pursed lips for a count of 6, feeling your shoulders drop. This breath pattern lowers heart rate and signals the nervous system to shift from fight or flight into rest and digest, priming your body for deeper sleep once you do lie down. To make the habit stick, tie it to an evening landmark you already respect. When you set your coffee pot for the next morning or feed the cat, let that task cue you to start your movement buffer. Keep a small printed routine on the fridge, large font, maybe even a photo of yourself enjoying last summer's barbecue, so you associate motion with all the good times staying healthy allows. And here's a bonus. Gentle pre-bed movement can nudge digestion along, so if you tend to wake with acid reflux from dinner, those extra steps help gravity keep stomach acid where it belongs. Less reflux means fewer throat irritations that might otherwise wake you, and fewer sips of water that fill the bladder at 1 a.m. It's a virtuous cycle built on tiny, pleasant acts instead of discipline through gritted teeth. Tonight, before you reach for that remote and let your body sink into stillness until bedtime, hear this quiet reminder. Your prostate, bladder, heart, and joints are whispering for a short stroll, a few ankle pumps, a slow breath. Give them that gift. Picture the reward when dawn arrives. You swing your legs out of bed, plant your feet firmly, and stand without the stab of stiffness. Maybe you even delay that first mug of coffee to savor the calm energy pulsing through well-rested muscles. Aging does narrow some options, but it also clarifies what truly works, and gentle evening motion is one of those timeless tools. So close the sitting chapter a little sooner, let your body turn each deliberate step into a lullaby, and walk yourself into the restorative sleep you deserve. 5. Skipping regular checkups and ignoring warning signs. You probably know the drill. A postcard from your family doctor arrives in the mail. Time to schedule your annual checkup. And you prop it on the kitchen counter, meaning to call tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into next week, then the card migrates under a pile of catalogs. Meanwhile, those subtle annoyances you've been brushing aside keep whispering in the background. A slower, weaker stream when you urinate, a dull ache deep in your lower back, the nagging sense you're visiting the bathroom more often than your old Labrador. Still, you shrug. After all, your neighbor Paul had the same complaints and said it was nothing but normal aging. Besides, you tell yourself, you feel fine. You walked the grocery aisles yesterday and even carried 2 bags to the car. No fever, no sharp pain, no crisis. If it isn't broken, why fix it? You mutter, pouring another cup of coffee and flipping on the morning news. But let's turn that comfortable assumption upside down. What if no news isn't good news? What if skipping a simple blood test or 10-minute exam today silently ushers you towards sleepless nights, invasive procedures, or even life-threatening trouble a year or 2 down the road? Modern medicine has made prostate problems, and many other age-related conditions, far more manageable than they were in our father's time, yet that progress depends on one non-negotiable ingredient: early awareness. Ignoring faint warning signs can let a treatable issue smolder until it roars, and the prostate, tucked away in quiet, is a master of subtlety. By the time pain forces you into the clinic, swelling may already be pressing hard on the urethra, kidneys may be strained from chronic backflow, and cells gone rogue may have gathered momentum no pill can halt. Here's what goes on behind the curtain. Around age 50, a man's prostate often begins to enlarge as testosterone converts to a byproduct called DHT. Think of it as extra fertilizer in the garden. For roughly half of American men over 65, that growth is benign. The gland balloons inward, squeezing the urinary tube like fingers pinching a straw. Early on, the bladder muscles adapt by contracting harder. You barely notice. Over months, those muscles tire and the bladder wall thickens, losing elasticity. Residual urine pools, creating a cozy spot for bacteria and low-grade infection that inflames the prostate further. Elevated white blood cell chemicals bathe nearby tissues in an inflammatory soup, raising the risk not only of discomfort but, in certain cases, of malignant changes. A straightforward PSA blood test and a quick digital rectal exam can spot subtle shifts long before symptoms snowball, but only if you show up. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The dominoes reach beyond plumbing. Frequent nighttime urination fragments deep sleep. Poor sleep ramps up cortisol, the stress hormone that sabotages immune surveillance and nudges body-wide inflammation higher. Elevated inflammation links to everything from arthritic pain to memory fog. In a cruel twist, chronic sleep loss can lower natural killer cell activity, one of your body's early defenses against budding cancer cells. So that minor urinary dribble you ignore is not merely a bathroom inconvenience. It's a pebble that starts an avalanche. The fix is mercifully gentle. Make regular checkups as routine as changing the oil in your car. Begin with a clear schedule, a yearly physical that includes a PSA test, or more frequently if your doctor suggests, and a candid conversation about any urinary quirks. Keep a small notebook on your nightstand or use a phone note to jot down the frequency of bathroom trips, dribbling, or discomfort. Bring that record to your appointment. Concrete details help your provider see patterns you might overlook. If the clinic feels daunting, enlist a health buddy, a spouse, neighbor, or church friend, to book the same day and drive together. Many practices now offer virtual visits for initial consults. 15 minutes on a tablet could save months of worry. Worried about cost? Under Medicare Part B, an annual wellness visit is covered, and most supplemental plans pick up the labs. Community health fairs often offer PSA screenings at little or no charge. Local senior centers keep calendars. If mobility is the hurdle, inquire about mobile lab services. Phlebotomists who draw blood right at your kitchen table. Small inconveniences pale against the burden of untreated prostate disease. Catheters, hospital stays, rounds of antibiotics, or surgeries that might have been minimized with earlier care. Let's anchor this in a real-life snapshot. Henry Glenn, a 74-year-old retired postal carrier from North Carolina, prided himself on never being sick a day in his life. After his wife passed, clinic visits felt like chores he could skip. Over 18 months, Henry noticed gradual hesitancy when starting to pee and occasional lower back twinges, which he blamed on trimming hedges. One night, he woke drenched in sweat, unable to urinate at all, an emergency. In the ER, he learned his prostate had grown so large it completely blocked the urethra, backing up urine into his kidneys and threatening permanent damage. He left with a catheter and a fast-track surgery date. While he recovered well, Henry later confessed the emotional toll. "I'd give anything to turn back the clock and catch this sooner." Today, he's the first to remind his poker buddies, "Don't be me, go in before you're forced to." Contrast Henry's tale with Royce Martinez, 69, a Texas granddad who treats checkups like annual tax filings, non-negotiable. During a routine visit, Royce's PSA nudged upward from 3.9 to 5.2. He felt perfectly fine, but his doctor ordered a brief MRI that spotted a tiny, early-stage tumor. A minimally invasive outpatient procedure zapped the lesion in under 2 hours. Royce was home for dinner and back to gardening in a week, bladder intact, nerve spared. "It felt like changing a spark plug before the engine sputtered," he chuckles. Early detection turns crises into chores. Maybe you're thinking, "I'm scared of what they might find," or "doctors always push pills." Fear is natural, but knowledge empowers you to choose. Modern guidelines favor watchful waiting for slow-growing prostate issues. Lifestyle tweaks, weight control, anti-inflammatory foods, stress reduction, often complement or delay medication. Skipping the appointment steals that choice, handing the steering wheel to chance. So, how do you transform intention into action? Mark your calendar right now. Pick a meaningful date, perhaps your birthday month or Veterans Day, and label it Prostate and Wellness Check. Call the clinic while motivation is high. Many offices allow online scheduling after hours. Tape the appointment card to your refrigerator where you can't miss it each time you reach for milk. Recruit your adult children. Tell them the date so they can encourage you and celebrate afterward with lunch. Turn the appointment into a positive ritual. Wear your favorite cap, treat yourself to a decent cup of coffee afterward, maybe swing by the park and feed squirrels. In branding circles, they say, people repeat what feels rewarding. Apply that wisdom to your health routine. Between visits, listen to whispers before they become shouts. Trouble starting or stopping your stream, blood in urine, new pelvic discomfort, or nighttime frequency creeping above 2 trips, any of these deserve a prompt call. Set aside macho pride. Every car, no matter how tough, needs a mechanic's glance when warning lights flash. Your body deserves at least as much attention as your pickup truck. And here's a gentle mental reframe. Checkups are acts of love, not fear. Love for future Thanksgivings with family, for morning walks with the dog, for the quiet dignity of handling personal needs without emergency help. They're also expressions of responsibility to loved ones who depend on your wisdom, stories, and steady presence. Tonight, while brushing your teeth, look in the mirror. See the decades of hard-earned lines, the eyes that have witnessed joy and loss. Say aloud, "I choose to know." Then pick up the phone or open your computer and schedule that exam. Just as surely as a well-timed oil change keeps an old Chevy humming down Route 66, A timely checkup keeps your body's engine running smoother, longer, freer. Remember, age may add gray hairs, but it also grants the clarity to act on the small things that matter most. Let early detection be your secret weapon, turning potential storms into passing clouds. You've steered through tougher roads than this. Aim the wheel toward your doctor's door, listen to those warning signs, and claim the restful nights and vibrant mornings waiting on the other side. Nights spent tossing and turning, interrupted by urgent trips to the bathroom, can feel like an unavoidable part of getting older. But as we've explored today, it's often not just age. It's the small habits we carry into the night that quietly affect our prostate health and steal our restful sleep. From what and when we drink, to the snacks we reach for, the moments we choose to move or stay still, and even whether we keep up with regular checkups, each choice shapes the quality of our nights and the vitality of our days. The good news is, change doesn't require drastic measures. Gentle shifts like adjusting evening hydration, honoring that final bathroom visit, choosing prostate-friendly snacks, moving a little before bed, and staying on top of health screenings can break the cycle of restless nights. Real stories from folks like Frank, John, Maggie, Sam, Henry, and Royce show that even small, mindful habits ripple out into brighter mornings, clearer minds, and calmer bodies. You deserve peaceful nights filled with deep sleep that restores not just your energy, but your spirit. Your prostate, and your whole body, thrive when treated with kindness and respect. So tonight, take that gentle step. Drink a little less before bed, move a little more, listen to your body's quiet signals, and keep your health in check. These simple acts are powerful gifts you give yourself. Remember, it's never too late to start fresh. Your next peaceful night is waiting, just beyond the small choices you make today. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this video helped you, don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and take care of yourself, because you truly deserve it.